Jessee B. I should have never left you. Te extrañé, mami. But I'll never leave you again. I promise you this with a kiss. Un besito para ti. A little kiss for you and me. I'll hold your body closely.
You've been listening to the sights and sounds of recording artist Jessee B. Jessee B, welcome to the conversation.
Hello, Mike. Thank you for the invitation, and thank all the fans for having me today.
We are definitely glad you're here. How you been making out with this COVID-19 and social distancing?
We're maintaining, man. Thankfully, we're healthy and we're doing fine, and hopefully, when this whole thing is over with, we can try to get things back to normal. There's been a lot of cancellations with concerts and events, and as everyone's been watching, but hopefully when it's all over, we can get back to doing what we love best, performing for the fans and bringing them great music.
Now, you consider your music, it's a very interesting genre that we haven't heard for quite some time. Tell us a little bit about that genre and why you decided to get involved.
I grew up as a disc jockey, a mobile DJ when I was younger, and the genre of music that I began to love so much, was called freestyle music today. But back in the 80s, it derived from New York City, and it used to be called Latin hip hop. And the music basically is kind of like love song lyrics over an up-tempoed hip hop beat. And the artist from New York City created it back in the early 80s, mid 80s, and it stuck around for roughly over 30 years, and that's what motivated me to get into the studio and start recording from when I used to be a DJ and singing back when I was younger and singing in church and stuff like that. So I decided to go into the studio and start recording this type of music. Although it's not the only kind of music I record. I do also reggaeton, and I also do Latin pop music, but Latin hip hop freestyle music is what won my heart over.
And you were involved in it back in the day, and then in 2018, you decided to reemerge. Why?
Well, I decided to reemerge and get back into the music because Latin hip hop freestyle music had taken its course throughout the years. It was very, very strong back in those days and also in the 90s, but it kind of got dated a little bit, and FM radio went away from playing it. But in 2018, I decided to come back because a nice group of freestyle artists, legendary artists and newer artists decided to get back in the studios and try to give this music a new sound, a new flavor, because it's a great genre of music. And the movement that was created by the artists to try to bring this music back to the forefront and try to get FM radio and stations to play this music again, it was a very powerful movement, and it motivated me. And I decided to go back into the studio and record a new album. And right now, the music is doing really well. A lot of the hot mix DJs that are on FM radio are playing this music again. And we're in hopes that sooner or later, the program directors will say, hey, you know what? This music is doing well again. Let's give it another shot and start adding us into regular rotation, because this music is truly, truly a great genre of music. And I know that the newer fans and the younger kids will love it.
So take us back to the 90s. You were a part of a group by the name of Legacy, and you guys had some moderate success, reaching number 1, number 2 in your respective markets. Take us back to that group and what it was like making music during that time.
Oh, the music was great during that time. In the early 90s, I was the lead singer of a group called Legacy, and we put out several hits, one called Stay With Me Tonight, another called Girls Do It Just For Fun, and so forth. And we had the privilege of being accepted onto FM radio by several FM radio stations back in those days. And one of the main radio stations, if not the main radio station in Chicago, Illinois, back then is called B96, because they're still there. And they accepted us onto their station, and our music went number 1 and 2 on there, and it's what actually launched the success of the group. And you know, back in those days, you know, the music was a little different. You know, like you know, you had some R&B groups like H-Town and, you know, Boyz II Men, and the clothes was a little different. We had a little more baggier clothes, cross colors, and Guess jeans, and Carl Kanai, and you know what I'm talking about.
I was there, brother. I was there right with you.
Yeah, so you know, the style was a little different, you know, and the music was a little different, but it was definitely a lot of fun.
And in 2018, as we touched on earlier, you have reemerged. I'm quite sure there's been some highlights and a little bit of lowlights, if you will. What's been the biggest challenge since 2018 for you?
Well, the biggest challenge in 2018 is, like I mentioned, you know, just trying to put the music back on the forefront, trying to get FM radio to accept this, trying to appeal to the younger fans, which slowly but surely is working. But the biggest challenge of it all is just that of its own. You know, it's easy to go in the studio and record it, but you have to try to appeal to the sound today, which is what I'm doing with my music. I'm giving it a new flavor, a new sound. You know, like I mentioned, you know, back in the day, you know, Latin hip hop music, you know, it's up-tempo hip hop beat with a Latin flavor to it, pianos, strings, you know, and, you know, love song lyrics over the music and beats. But today we try to give it a more updated sound and give it new instruments and give it new lyrics, you know. Back then, if you hear some of the legacy songs, you know, we wound up putting like rap lyrics inside of the music. You know, today, you know, we're kind of doing the same thing. Some of the artists, you know, me, myself, I do it in one or two of my songs. But we're trying to just give it a new innovative sound, you know, and that's probably the biggest challenge of the whole thing.
Now, I also have to imagine using streaming services, social media services to put your music and yourself out there. Wondering how many folks are actually listening to FM radio nowadays versus listening to some of the streaming services.
You know what? You're absolutely right about that, because with the streaming services that are out, a lot of fans have went over to some of the satellite radio stations, some of the internet radio stations, to be able to listen to the styles of music that they like or the choice of music that they like, you know. But when it's all said and done, for exposure and for success in this business, FM radio is probably where the artist would like to be, you know, that kind of a platform, so that it gets out to the masses, so that the people will go to the streaming services and stream your music and so forth, and the promoters will know about you to then and book you for concerts. So you know, it's a big deal, and you know, it's the movement that we're trying to do. But I can't deny that the internet is not helpful. It definitely is helpful.
Tell us about your clothing line.
My clothing line is Jessee B Music, as you can see.
Very well.
We have leggings, t-shirts, hats, baby clothes. We have windbreakers and sweatsuits. And my clothing line is created by D. Marie Harris over at D. Marie Entertainment, which is the record label that I'm under right now, DME Music. She has several artists on our roster, and she does clothing lines for almost everyone there. And, you know, any of the fans that feel free to want to look up any Jessee B merchandise or any of the other artists that are in the catalog, feel free to go to D. Marie Entertainment or D. Marie Harris on Facebook, and you can look at the clothing line and select whatever you think is fitting for you or whatever you think you might like. But there's a lot of great clothing, and she does a great job at designing. So, you know, big kudos to D. Marie Harris and D. Marie Entertainment. Very good company, very professional, and, you know, I love working with them.
So let's talk about what's next for Jessee B.
What's next for Jessee B is to continue on pushing this album. I'm in the studio currently recording this album, and you know, I'm enjoying myself. And you know, I'm not a young guy anymore, but I think I can still dance and move pretty good on the stage. So
I think you got a little bit.
Yeah. So you know, what's left for me is just to continue pushing this album in hopes that I can leave my mark on the music industry, you know, before you know, we're not able to do it anymore, you know, because like everyone else, people's time comes, people's time passes, you know, and you know, I just hope that we can do what we are motivated to do right now, and that is bring Latin hip hop freestyle music to the forefront, and give it, the sound that everybody else has today. I mean, and who knows what it can get categorized into the charts. It can get categorized as pop. There's been freestyle Latin hip hops that got categorized as pop music and went on to do very well on Billboard and on all the charts. And there are a lot of great new artists in our genre. A lot of young artists have stepped forward and gotten in the studios, and they're recording really good music. And I encourage all the fans watching right now, look into this type of music. Look into Latin freestyle, look into freestyle music, urban groove. Look into it. It's all over YouTube. It's all over the internet. There's many, many great artists that they can select from. And hopefully some of the fans lock into this music, and sooner or later, we may come to your city to do a big show. I've been to, I believe this show's in Philly. Is it, Mike?
Yes, it is. It is. Based on
I've been to Philly about a month or two ago, and I did a show out there, with a couple of buddies of mine, and it was a great time there. The people there are very, very nice.
We are very nice. When you were here, did you happen to get a cheesesteak, a Philly cheesesteak?
I did. I actually did. I actually went out with a couple of friends, and they bought me some of the Philly food, and they gave me a Philadelphia T-shirt. I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, but they gave me a Sixers shirt. But hey, I wore it proudly. Okay, I wore it proudly.
Well, thank you. I hope that you will continue to wear it proudly as you rep the streets of where you live. Jessee B, thanks a lot for joining us on the conversation. Much success to you. When are we expecting that album to drop?
The album should be done probably early next year, but I'm releasing singles as I go. My newest single is called This Is Life, and it'll be released in the first week of June. You'll be able to find it on YouTube, and you'll be able to find it on all digital outlets. But if you're looking to purchase the song early on, you can go to D Marie Entertainment, and the song will be available for purchase there as soon as it gets released. It won't be on digital outlet until probably a month after. But when the song is released in the first week of June, it will be on D Marie Entertainment page, and you can purchase it there.
Well, we'll make sure we keep an eye out for that single as well as the album and all things Jessee B. Once again, thanks for joining us on the program, and much success to you.
Thank you for having me, Mike. It was a pleasure to be here with you, and an honor to meet you. You're a great guy, and I really appreciate the invitation.